All right, number 12. The force required to compress a string varies directly as the change in the length. Okay. If a force of 10 pounds is required to compress a certain string 5 inches, how much force is required to compress the spring 8 inches? All right. When we see varies directly, okay, that tells us one very specific equation. Generally like this: y equals k times x. K is the constant of variation, which we got to figure that out. Alright, so if it says varies directly, this is the type of equation. It might not be the same variables that you use, but it will be the exact same setup. So in this case, they tell us the force required to compress a string varies directly as the change in length. So I would write this equation as F for force varies directly as the change in length. So you need K still and then times L. So I would use F and L instead of Y and X. That way, when they tell me, okay, the force is 10 pounds, so I'm going to plug a 10 right here, equals K times required to compress a string 5 inches. Okay, so 5. So using the first numbers they give you, we're going to divide by 5 so we can figure out what K is. So divide by 5, and we get that 2 equals K. Alright, so my constant of variation is 2. So now my new equation is F equals 2L. Alright, then they give you new numbers. How much force? So we want to know how much force is required to compress the string 8 inches. Alright, so we're going to plug in the 8 here. They're giving us the new length. So F equals 2 times 8. 2 times 8, that will give us 16. So force has to equal 16. So these variation equations always work this way. They will give you two values to plug in. You use those to find K. Once you have K, they will give you another value, and then you find the other. So they give you one of the two, you find the missing one. Alright, number 13. The euro is the common currency used by most European countries. On a recent day, the exchange rate between euros and US dollars was 1 euro to 1.3595. Greg went to a city in Europe and exchanged his US currency for euros, receiving 450 euros. How much in US dollars did he exchange? Alright, so we just set up a proportion here. Alright, so we have the euro, I'm going to put that on top, 1 to 1.3595. That's the US dollars. And then it said he got 450 euros. How much US dollars did he get? So we're going to have to cross multiply. Bring the bottoms to the top. So 1 times X just gives me X, and that equals 1.3595 times the 450. Alright, so we're going to multiply these, and then that'll give us our amount in US dollars. So 1.3595 times 450. 611, about 78. It's going to say round to the nearest cent. Yes, 611.78. Make sure I got that correct. It's 611.77, but the 5 will round up, so 78. That looks good.